The reason why I want stress-free trades is because we want to be in and out the market as quick as possible, guys. We do not want to stay long where manipulation can happen. Okay? Hello, everyone. I'm Tugwan. If you're new, welcome to our trading dojo, where we turn unprofitable traders into consistently profitable traders, using the mindset of a ninja and the discipline of a professional trader. Too many times I see traders fail to follow their plan and dive in headfirst without any strategy whatsoever, and repeatedly get clapped by the markets. As Shinobi traders, we try to be the best possible version of ourselves in and outside the markets. If you want to sharpen your skills as a trader and master the art of trading, subscribe now and join us in this exciting and rewarding journey. Let's get back to the video. Welcome back, traders. We got an exciting video for you guys today. We're going to be going over supply and demand, and I'm going to be going over key concepts of why and how to use supply and demand. You guys are going to really enjoy this video. I think some of you guys are going to take a lot of value from this, and we're going to help you guys really understand this concept. All right. So in this video, this is what we're going to be talking about. Let's go over the overview. Going back. Let's go back a little bit. We went too far. All right. So what are we going to be talking about in this video? In this video, we're going to be talking about what is supply and demand, why supply and demand should be your foundation, when to trade supply and demand, the key concepts that you can use to get as much value from supply and demand as possible, give examples of what a good supply and demands, and we're going to give you guys, if you guys stay at the end of the video, we're going to share a good example on the charts of what a good supply and demand looks like. So what is, keep doing that. What is supply and demand? Supply is the quantity of an asset. All right. Companies, they provide shares to shareholders, potential shareholders, and they are able to buy those shares, and demand represents the desire for those shares. Okay. Supply and demand are areas where buyers and sellers are most concentrated. So if we're in a supply zone, we're gonna have mostly sellers concentrated in that price zone. And if we're in a demand area, we're gonna have a lot of buyers wanting to buy in those areas. Okay, when supply is low, but there's a lot of demand, price will go up, and vice versa. When demand is high, price is gonna go up, and price is gonna move into the next support or resistance or supply and demand zone. All right, why supply and demand should be your foundation in trading? Well, because news events cause spike in prices that can offer stress-free trades, okay? It also creates an area of value where risk reward is favorable. The reason why I want stress-free trades is because we want to be in and out the market as quick as possible, guys. We do not want to stay long where manipulation can happen, okay? Because when we're in the supply and demand zone, there's a lot of buyers and sellers who are pushing those price up, who are pushing price, rapidly into the other direction, where it's hard to manipulate by institutions. So we want to capitalize on that when the opportunity arises, okay? And we also, the reason why it should be your foundation is because you can capitalize on larger moves instead of being in chop, okay? I see some of you traders, you just, get in at a random area on the chart just because you feel like the price should go in your favor. But no, guys, you cannot just get in on, just any support and resistance and think that price is going to go right in your favor because of a news event or because, Donald Trump tweeted something. No, we have to wait for the chart to show its hand. And it's most likely going to show its hand in the supply and demand area. All right. Also, why it should be your foundation is because price moves fairly quickly when the conditions are right. All right. And I'm going to go more into detail on what those conditions are in the next slides. All right. When to trade supply and demand zones. Okay. You want to trade when price action says so. You do not want to just hop in, and like I said, you don't want to just hop in at a support and resistance zone because you think price is gonna go in your direction. Always wait for price action, and what I mean by that, I'm talking about waiting for head and shoulders, double top, waiting for a channel, inverse head and shoulders, pendant, anything. But don't just hop in just because we're in a supply and demand area, because you're just gonna get chopped out, and most likely price is not gonna go in your favor because you didn't wait for any type of price action to show itself and show its hand. Okay, and we also want to wait for confluence to align. And when I say confluence, I mean we want to wait for our EMAs or VWAP. Want to wait for support and resistance. Is it at a key support and resistance in the supply and demand zone? Supply and demand is not the same as support and resistance. We're gonna go over that in another video, but for time's sake, I'm just gonna say wait for key support and resistance in supply and demand zones. All right. And you also, most important thing about when to trade supply and demand zone is waiting for confirmation. Okay. We want to wait for a trend line break. We want to wait for a lower high and a higher low. We want to wait for multiple confluence, and then we want to wait for a confirmation after those confluence, so that way we could have a high probability of price moving in our favor. All right. And one key way you can spot when price is about to move in a certain direction is an early sign that most traders don't realize. But when you see higher than normal candlesticks, let's say you see a higher than normal, bigger than normal like red candle in a supply zone, you can tell that price is ready to the selling pressure is there and is ready to drop drastically. Same thing that goes for the demand zone. If you see a high momentum candle within a demand zone, you best believe price is trying to move in the other direction. That's another way you can spot confirmation when you want to trade in a certain direction. And the best time to trade supply and demand zones are in fresh zones. I don't know why I just put supply zones. I should have put, scratch that. Just let's go back up. Bear with me, guys. Fresh supply zones. Okay, so what I mean by fresh zones, don't forget about supply. I'm talking about fresh supply and demand zones. Okay. When I say fresh zones, I mean I want to see price hit an area 2 or 3 times and drop drastically. If it hits 5, 6, 7 times, I don't want to be in that trade. I don't want to risk my money by putting some capital up just because the price is in the supply and demand zone. It's most likely not going to go in your favor. Okay. Those fresh zones where prices only hit it a few times is the best time to trade supply and demand zones. Okay, if you're gonna hit it the third or the fourth time, I would probably wait for. I'll probably size down because, price can get a little tricky during the fourth or fifth time. All right, now let's go over the key concepts. Not all supply and demand are created equal. Some of you guys be trading. Some of you guys be trading lower level supply and demand zones. Okay, and you might mistake a support and resistance as a supply and demand zone. There are two different things. They're not the same. Do not try to short. Some of you guys short before you even get to the supply demand zone, and you mistake it for that, and you don't really know how to identify those areas. All right. You also want to identify price action in the zones. That is the best advice I can give to you. Always look down the lower time frames and be able to tell if price is giving you the same confluence on each time frame. So let's say I see a 15 minute, I see a wicking on a 15 minute. I also want to see, let's say, a double top or a double bottom on the 5 minute, which tells me that hey, price is ready to go in my favor. All right. And another key concept is you want to look for strong zones that have moved rapidly from the area. If it's consolidating the area, more more time. If it's consolidating the area uh, longer, you want to wait for the consolidation to break. I wouldn't just I wouldn't just go in and just because it's at the zone. You don't want to just hop in a trade and assume that it's gonna go in the other direction. If it's consolidating, that means buyers or sellers are accepting higher or lower prices. You know, in a supply and demand area, you usually see, especially fresh ones, you usually see a steep drop right when it gets up. It might have like a little ghost wick and drop rapidly, or it's going to consolidate just for a little bit, but not 3 or 4 hours or days, let alone days. That means that buyers and sellers are no one's in control and no one's able to move the price in their favor. All right. And we already went over the more area has been tested, the weaker it becomes. All right. So I would size down. I would size down like 50% of what I usually trade, and go based off of that. And if prices consolidate in the zone, there's a balance, and buyers and sellers are going to eventually move the price, but you just can't hop in and expect price to go in your favor because the likelihood of that happening, we always want to take high probably setups. So I will always wait for price action, confluences, anything that signals that price is going to go in your direction. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So I'm not going to go over the summary right now. I want to go over an example of what good supply and demand looks like. So let's go to Thinkorswim. All right, guys. So let's go over a key demand area. So I'm looking at this 4120 area. We can see that price has moved drastically. I would say one, two, three, 4 times. Okay, it was only on this area. Let me draw this zone real quick so you guys know what exactly the zone, what a demand zone looks like. All right. I always like to draw to the candle wick of the candle. So it was only here that price consolidated in this area and started moving. So I wouldn't really count this as a good demand breakout. I would say this is the first time it broke out like drastically. So it came back the second time, and that's when we got these candle wicks that showed us that price is getting weak. And then as we draw our trend line, we can see that price had broken out of this area. This was the break, and we had a retest, and ever since then, price has never got back into this trend. Okay. So, like I said, price has drastically moved the first time. This is the second time. So this is still a fresh demand zone because these areas are not. Excuse me. These areas, yeah, they're okay, but I wouldn't count this because it's consolidating. That's not really. It's not really a demand zone yet because it hasn't moved drastically from this area yet. Okay, and now let's go into our supply zone. I got, excuse me for all these. I got a lot of trend lines here. I get a little busy, so bear with me, guys. So let's go over our supply zone. This is a supply zone. There is a lot of sellers. Let me change this color so you guys know. 1 second. Let's change this to like light red. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So you can see the candles in there. So as we can see here, price has come up and has dropped drastically. Okay. So what was the indicator that price is ready to go in the opposite direction? As we can see here, price had came up and failed to make a higher high and came back down. All right. And then we came back up again and we still fell to make a higher high. So we have this double top right here on the hourly time frame that's showing us that price is weak and we're about to make a trend change. We're about to change direction in the market. Okay, and where's our confirmation on the hourly time frame? Our confirmation is going to be when we break this neckline. Okay, and then we can put our stop somewhere around. We can put our stop around 42. 4,201, and we can ride this baby down all the way back down to the demand zone. All right. So that's all I'm gonna go over today. You guys, I hope you guys understand that supply and demand zone should be your foundation, and you should really understand this concept. Otherwise, you're just going to continually get chopped around and wicked out by institution and banks who are always manipulating the market and trying to catch liquidity. All right. So let's go back over the summary. Let's go back. So we went over supply and demand areas where buyers and sellers are the most concentrated. The risk to reward is most favorable in supply and demand areas. Trade supply and demand when price action says so, and look for strong zones that have more have moved rapidly from that area. Okay, this I know I didn't go over this one. I apologize. Risk to reward, another key concept that you need to learn. Supply and demand offers a good risk to reward for your plays. Okay, we always want to risk one to make two or three. Supply and demands most likely gives you a risk to reward of 1 to 3 or more. That's why I love trading them, because they are very high quality setups in supply and demand zones. All right, so that's it for the video, guys. Leave a comment below what you think about supply and demand. How do you trade it? Give me a like if you feel like this video gave you a lot of insight on what supply and demand is and how to be able to profit from it. And follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter. Is link in the bio, and I'll see you guys next time.